What's up, and welcome to Party Invite, where we invite you to a gaming community of inclusiveness and diversity. Your party members today are Thomas Egan,
Yep.
Carlos Gomez,
That's me.
Devi Hill,
Hi.
and I am your party leader, Chris Mowry. Our companion on this episode is the editor-in-chief and co-founder of But Why Tho, a geek community, Kate Sánchez.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Kate, for the people unfamiliar with you, please let them know what is But Why Tho and how did it get started?
So, But Why Tho Geek Community is a website dedicated to uplifting marginalized voices in pop culture journalism. So that is everything from video games and comic books to books, anime, manga, TV, film, and everything else you can think of under the pop culture sun. It actually got started as a podcast. So our flagship podcast is But Why Tho the podcast. I started that when I was in the middle of my PhD. I decided I don't want to do this anymore, but I still want to do research and I'm going to miss writing. And me and my husband decided to see if anybody wanted to write for us. And that's how But Why Tho got started as an actual site. And obviously, just, given my background, as we started growing, we really wanted to make sure that what we were building was focusing on community first and putting together a platform for people from different experiences to really showcase their talents in writing and use their voices. So that's how we got started.
Awesome. That's great. We're going to get into what we've been playing, and we're going to talk about Hitman 3, of course. Carlos, let's start with you. What have you been playing as of late?
Yeah, I've been combing through some of the shorter stuff on my backlog. I'm getting back into that officially, so everybody be on the lookout for a future blog again. My backlog means tackling some of the shorter games that I've just not gotten to, and so over the weekend, since Donut County jumped on Game Pass, I downed that shit so fast. So fun. It's just a ridiculously good time. I got all the achievements in it in one playthrough. Just an absolute blast.
Nerd.
Yeah, just a little bit. I also got a short hike because I've been wanting that since it was announced on Switch, and it was on sale the other day, so I grabbed it up. Just one of the most pleasant games to play in recent memory.
I've heard good things
short.
about it. What are you doing in it?
Yeah, the reviews are kind of funny because a lot of people were like, "Oh, it's a Zelda light," and it's like, "Oh, well, it's a little bit walking simulator and mostly just a 3D platformer. Really, the whole point is just to get your little penguiny character." I say penguiny is not actually penguin. She's not actually penguin, but
Some type of bird.
she very much looks like it. You're supposed to get Claire up to the top of this mountain, and it's just a journey of talking to a few people, learning a little bit about the history of the place. Kind of a little bit of Celeste there, but there's not much to it. It's really about picking up these golden feathers because that's what basically gives you the stamina to make your way up all the way. And I think I completed it with 9 or 10 feathers. So it's really just exploring this whole little island and mountain. It's just absolutely beautiful. The graphics, the sound design is nice because you're just hearing all these sweeping wind sounds and water sounds. Just super calming and well worth trying out, especially for it's $8 normally on Switch, and I think it was about $6 or $6.50 the last week.
Oh, wow.
Super good deal and just a really great time.
Chill vibes.
Yeah, that's all I've been looking for this past week, and that's exactly what I got. Very, very happy with my gaming choices this week.
That sounds like it'd be a really good entry for the brunch special.
I think it would be because you don't have to complete the game either. You can easily complete it in an hour and a half. But
Oh wow, that's super
as
short.
much time as you want it to. Yeah.
Is it? Would you say it's a stealth game or a shoot 'em up game?
Oh, it's very much neither of those. Yeah.
Nice.
Great.
Devi, you have something here called Koromon. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Yep, Coromon. So,
Nailed it.
of course, I have my standard list of games that I've been playing: Ninjala, Splatoon, Overwatch, etc. But this one, I wanted to talk about Coromon, which is a monster catcher game. So, like Pokemon, like Monster Rancher, like Temtem, all those out there. And it is for mobile and Steam. It is 2D pixelated with animated sprites and everything, and it has all of the mechanics that you would expect a monster catcher to have. So like all the monsters have different types, and they're super effective or weak against other types. And then there's the exploration and the item management and all that whatnot. It's really, really fun. But I think it's still in technically early access.
Okay.
But it's a lot of fun. I like it. I like it a lot. Mostly because I'm in it. I am in it as an NPC, and you know how much I love me if you listen to our past podcasts. So very me oriented. So
Not shameless.
I thought I'd break out an oldie and a goodie because they've made a lot of changes since I last played, and it's shaping up to be a really, really good game. So I'm really happy, and I can't wait for the actual like full blown experience.
And where can you play this at? Is this on like Steam or Epic Store or something like that?
It is on Steam and it is on mobile, so
Oh.
you can get it on iOS or Android too. It's free on one of them, but on the other one it's like $5. I think it's free on mobile.
Okay.
And then on Steam it's like $5 because of like Steam tax or whatever you want to call it.
Mhm.
But when you're choosing your starter, if you do decide to play, because of course you have the 3 starting monsters, you should choose Cub Zero because I named that entire line, so you should do that.
Do that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was on mobile. That is a gorgeous game.
Oh yeah. It started out on there, and then they moved it to Steam and for development or whatever, and so they're developing it for both.
If I didn't crack my screen, I'd play more mobile games, but
Oh,
such is life.
well, if you get a new phone, it's a lot of fun. Like it's a good time sink too, and it's hard. It's difficult. So if you're used to like the new Pokemon games, you're not going to get that same experience. You're going to get your butt kicked.
Oh, okay.
And then you can come and see me in the professor's lab to talk about your pains and your troubles because I've been there.
Very nice. Okay. Now that we're at this moment here, Kate, Thomas, and I have all been playing Hitman 3. So we're gonna kind of deep dive into some Hitman action here. Kate, let's go ahead and start with you. I remember on your podcast, I believe you said you maybe played a little bit of Blood Money, but did you with this trilogy, is this kind of your first dive into it?
Yeah, I had to take off my heating pad for this.
It got real.
It's intense.
Yeah, so this is my first step into the World of Assassination trilogy. Like I had mentioned in our podcast, I had played lots of Hitman levels, and I had fun with friends and exes who loved the Hitman series before, and Blood Money is the one I could most recently remember.
Mhm.
But I had just never really gotten into it, especially with the way that it was episodically released. Like, I can't get behind episodes, and I know that was one of the big pain points for it. And then I kind of didn't realize Hitman 2 came out, and now we were at Hitman 3. But when I saw the first trailers and the first stills of Agent 47, I was like, I remember. Agent 47, very attractive man. And
It's all coming back to me now.
So when I jumped in, I knew what I was in for. So like how the series works, some of the mechanics. But I was actually blown away because I don't remember the game being as forgiving for me as it was when I picked up Hitman 3. And I really appreciated that coming in, having not cleared the other two, that the first cinematic you see is literally called The Story So Far. So you get a nice refresher and jump into the franchise. So like I've been recommending Hitman 3 to people who haven't even played it before and don't even know what Hitman is. So
yeah, I would say the same, and I'm hopefully like some of Hitman 2 and 1 are on sale, so you can pick those up for super cheap and then just import them into 3, because that is the way. Oh my god. Being able to sit there and just jump from Hitman 1 to Hitman 2 to Hitman 3 all in one place is such a great thing, and I wish more developers and stuff were able to find a way to kind of make that work for certain games. especially if they're, like, I don't think Hitman 3 is particularly long, unless you go back in and do everything again and again and again. But having all three of them in one space, it's great. And I can't wait to... I played all through 2 to get to 3. And yeah, I can't wait to go back and do some of the DLC missions and some of those kind of things. Do you think you'll, since Hitman 3 was the first one for you, are you planning on trying to go back to those other ones?
Oh, I've already started.
There we go.
Yeah, since I did it for review, since IO had sent over the copy, I was very focused on Hitman 3, but even from like the first initial releases where they explained how they upgraded where they upgraded 1 and 2, and essentially anything you unlock in 3 you can also bring back to play in 1 and 2, and so that can actually really affect missions in a good way.
Right.
So I was really excited. So once I wrapped that, and then I had to review the medium as well, so once I wrapped the medium, then I started back through, and I am currently halfway through 1 right now. And I'm gonna keep playing because it's fun. And honestly, like, you're completely right. Like, I would love to see more companies building in a connected, like, hey, you own 1 and 2 already, come play the 3rd game, and you can all play it from the 3rd game with upgraded graphics, and like really invest and take care of your trilogy and the games that you're putting out.
And they optimized it so the total package is smaller than
Right.
Once you delete Hitman 1 and 2 off your system, the file sizes for those same levels that you had before is like half the size. And there's just an attention to thinking about the customer when you're putting that stuff together, the consumer, that I appreciated, because in the age of 200 gigabyte file sizes,
Yeah.
and those aren't small. I mean, 1 and 2 were big. They were released in episodes, and each of the levels themselves was pretty big. I mean, a handful of gigs, and when you've got 5, 6, 7 levels, then it really adds up. So I really appreciated that they really took their time to make this accessible, like for a jumping in point for people who haven't played, which is not something you can say about a lot of like 3rd games in a trilogy.
Right.
And I think especially for a game that is seen as so niche as a stealth game, because stealth is already a game that automatically axes out so many players because it's a very particular type of play style. And so to have the 3rd game also kind of be the most forgiving in some ways and also be a great jumping in point for the series, like, they were smart about it, and like they just released that they recouped all their money from development. So like I'm really excited because this is the first time IO did it by themselves, and so it's really exciting, and it's really kind of like a coming up story, really. Like, they were 1 and 2 had some pretty bad launches. Even 3 had some issues with whether or not, because 3 is exclusive to the Epic Games Store, and 1 and 2 were on Steam, so they had some issues with that as well. And so it was kind of up in the air as to like whether or not this was going to be. My husband said it on our Hitman podcast. Like, this is kind of going to test the waters for games in 2021 because we've had abysmal launches beforehand, and it came out and it hit. I mean, it had the only problem it had was too many people who were playing it.
And I think and I think that had to do with that connecting issue that is apparent throughout Hitman 3, where it'll just kind of stop what you're doing and try to reconnect to the servers of Hitman 3. I just think there's probably too many people playing. It doesn't happen enough to like really make me angry about it. It just happens enough to be like, ugh.
Yeah, it's only happened to me once, and that one time I was just like, oh no, please, like, I don't know what I'm going to lose, but I was in the middle of something. But it ended up being just fine.
Yeah. And going back to what you were saying about stealth games, I am fascinated, Kate, because you said that you were not good at stealth. You were terrible at it. So I am interested to how
real bad
a normal Hitman map goes for you.
Honestly, Hitman is a game that encourages save scrumming, which is really good.
Yeah.
And it doesn't punish you for it. Like,
no.
Honestly, what happens is I go into a map, I decide to play it till mess happens, the mess happens, and I realize what I shouldn't have done, and I reload my save to before the part where it went off the rails.
Yeah.
And that's how I play.
Yeah.
And you learn, and the game helps teach you the different ways. Like, so I think like one of the best examples is the second location, Dartmoor, where I went through and I was frustrated because I couldn't find a crowbar to unlock the greenhouse and the butler's office. And those are two important things that you need so that you can actually continue the story.
Mhm.
And I was like, and then I got frustrated. I was like, you know what? I'll just kill the lady. I can do this. And so I decided to just I decided to fake to be the photographer and like got her while she was coming outside.
Yep.
And crowbar. And so I was like, well, guess I'm replaying it again. And so I went all the way back. And so it's little things like that. So like I'm not playing with the eye to complete the mission when I start. Like I'm playing to make the mistakes and then learn how to run the perfect plan after. Which I think really greatly affects like the joy and the enjoyment that I have in the game, because I'm not going into the game expecting to be perfect. And that's something that like I've been telling a lot of people as they play, because they've been getting really discouraged, like, oh, this map is taking me 2 hours, or, you know, I'm just not clearing it quickly, or somebody spotted me, and I was like, it's fine. Throw a screwdriver at them and put them in a closet. It's
Right.
fine. And so that's really what I've been focusing on. And it also helped that I was able to just learn where I was really confused in the first level, and then by the time I did the last level, I just rampaged through because I was like, I can do this. Let's go.
Who's gonna stop me?
Yeah, and that's honestly just how the play is, and I think that there's because it hits this really beautiful balance where it rewards you for doing things extremely stealthy, and it rewards you for doing silent kills, and you get more points that way. But it also rewards you for drowning someone in a toilet. So, like, there is no wrong way to play this game, and it's not going to penalize you if you choose to just be loud and bumbly and, like, pick the wrong costumes.
Yeah, there are a bunch of times where I see something and I'm like, well, I'm on track. Like, I'm trying to get things to line up so I can do this cool thing over here, but I could just push him over the ledge right here. And I know that I will get a challenge for it. Like, I know it'll be like, you did a cool thing with a cool name. So I look at this stuff, and it's a real choice between, like, what do I want to do? But I never feel like they're really wrong answers, because there's so much juice to squeeze out of it that at any turn I'll just be like, oh, I didn't even think of that. And your options are just always available. There's always something in front of you that's just like, come on, try it. Just try it.
Yeah, and I will say, for people that are intimidated by it, like Kate said, this game kind of, and the other ones for that matter, if you just walk around and listen for a minute, this game will just like grab you by the hand and just start walking you to things. So if you're like, man, how am I ever going to get to that person? Walk around for 5 minutes and somebody will start talking about something, and then they'll just grab your hand and take your hand and be like, all right, now go kill this person like this. So it's,
And like,
yeah, go ahead.
well, and like, because you're completely right. Like, there's one level where you have 2 people together and you can't kill one of them, but you have to eliminate the other one. And then you're like, you don't realize what you can do until they like, you can like sabotage machinery along the way that you're like showing stuff. And you're like, oh, I didn't do an accident. Okay, thank you for telling me this. Random world environments, and then to the side talking to me about, oh, what if that thing did that? They really did do a good job of making sure the environments were, 1, immersive, and 2, taught you, which I greatly appreciate from any game.
Yeah, it's so I played Blood Money, and that was like my first like real experience with Hitman, and just like falling in love with it and being like, I think it was on 360. So like, and this wasn't when I was playing games a lot, and it was being like trying to show people why this was cool, was like a whole thing, and like getting other people into it, being like, hey, yeah, like this opera house, you can do, there's all these different ways you can kill this person and it still work out. And that's kind of what they ended up, after they did Absolution and things like that, they kind of went back to that formula in this new trilogy. And I remember playing Hitman 1 of this new trilogy and being like, this is really cool. Totally skipped 2. Just didn't worry about it. So then when 3 came out, it's like diving back into that stuff. And what I was kind of surprised about, I don't know if you guys are that into it, but the story of this is really good. And that's not something like
I didn't expect it.
No, like when I started Hitman 1, I wasn't like, this story's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
It was just going to be the levels.
I was considering, when I realized how slow I was going to try to beat 1 and 2 and then play 3, but I did not allow nearly enough time to even zoom through those, let alone do the fun, goofy things that I'd like to do. So I got maybe I got 4 levels maybe into the first one, and 3 was coming out like the next day, and I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to just watch all these cutscenes and hope that's enough. And then I did.
It's enough.
I was like, wow, that was awesome. I thought I was gonna be missing things and be like, oh man, I wish I had played it. And I'm looking forward to going back and playing it. But Chris had mentioned before, like not just the cutscenes in between levels, but the briefings before the levels. Oh, it's primo espionage fiction.
Very good.
Can't get enough of it.
Yeah, I really loved it. And I think I really appreciated the story too, because they work really hard on showing you that, like, the story in 3 is showing you that Agent 47 isn't as emotionless and empty as you think he's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I really enjoy it. And actually, the reason I played the last level on full rampage mode was because I was mad for him. And I wanted him to get justice for himself.
No spoilers, because I am so close to the end. I do not want to know what happens.
No. Yeah, no spoilers.
Okay.
Just like it was something where I was I was really impacted by the ending. There's also some really good things of bridging gameplay to cinematic that happens that is phenomenal. And so when I wrapped the game, I was fully invested in the story, and I played out that last level the way I feel somebody who had just gone through the stuff that he did would have played out that last level.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. And I didn't even I didn't think about it until my husband came in, and he was just like, why are you like literally killing everybody? I was like, you don't understand what he's been through, Matt.
Yeah.
Kate, did you by chance play The Last of Us 2?
No, I don't own it. Well, now I have a PlayStation, but I did not have a PlayStation for the entire PS4 generation.
Well, you can play it or not. I mean, you probably have some sort of opinion on it right now, and this isn't going to change that. But there's a segment in that game where it's exactly what you just described, where I was like, I am angry, like I am furious for this character, and when I catch this person that I'm chasing after, if there's like a good way and a bad way, I'm gonna do it the bad way.
Yeah.
And then the way things played out, like they knew exactly what they were doing in the writing. Where I was just like, well, like that. This sure is a moment. But I've been thinking about The Last of Us a lot, just in some small comparisons with Hitman 3. I'm not going to get into a bunch of stuff, but the accessibility settings in The Last of Us are interesting because those settings are things you go into the menu and you check them. There are a whole bunch of, it's probably the most accessible settings that I've ever seen, where you can mess with stealth, you can mess with combat, you can mess with enemy AI. There are like 6 different things, and I absolutely love it because people want to have fun when they're playing games. And if there's a particular barrier that's going to, you love everything in that game except for the stealth, well, then make the stealth easy. And when I was playing Hitman, I felt like it definitely was easier than I expected, but it wasn't less rewarding. There were a lot of times where I was like, the game's holding my hand here. It's showing me that I can either go through this and I'm probably going to have an opportunity to get a very clean kill, or I can get a sort of messy kill, but it's lining it up for me. Like, it's right here, and I can fight for it a little bit. It's probably going to work out. And in that way, it's accessible, but not with settings. It directs you in a way where you have choices, but it's linear enough to be like, hey, we want you to succeed here. and I really appreciate how often I get the feeling that it wants me to have a good time.
I think that that's the important thing of it, and I think that's the best thing you can do as a developer, right? Like, you want people to enjoy your game, and sometimes that means making them not frustrated. Because it's funny, like, I got stuck quite a bit when I first started, and I was like, I'm not gonna be able to get past it. And I actually enjoy that. I think Hitman's the first game in a while where if I stop and I walk away and then I come back, I see the way that I should have taken. Like, that type of like
Yes.
level design
Mhm.
is just so good. And like, literally sometimes just going back to, like, you may not know where you messed up, but sometimes just going back to the beginning, you see it all mapped out once you start playing, and as you keep progressing you learn more. And like, I don't know, because my husband and I have this conversation all the time, because we both like to play games on like on hardest difficulty settings, and like, get, for us, that's getting the most out of it. And there are some games where I feel like sometimes things get too easy when you do try to like be more forgiving on yourself and you don't get reward. But just like what you said, like, there's not a single moment where I didn't feel rewarded in that game, like, no matter what I chose to do. Like,
Mhm.
there's a system built in, and I think that that really comes down to the challenges. There are so many challenges that give you rewards.
There's
It
so many.
literally benefits every play style that you can even think of.
Mhm.
It's like they thought of how each way a person could play and then designed awards around that, which is something that I think is really important and definitely shows a smart use of what they were doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I will say when when both of you go back and play the end of 2, the very last mission of Hitman 2, and like into that cutscene, is like there's nothing in 3 so far has reached that level yet for me, because it is just, it's incredible. Even though through the entire last mission of 2, I was just angry at it the whole time. I was like, this is frustrating. This one's hard. Like, but once I started seeing how things happened, and I was just like, this is incredible. Actually, I hate this, now I love it. But two is really good. Into 3, but I feel like I'm flying through 3, and I don't know if that's because playing 2, like, I just kind of had all the mechanics down and just knew exactly what I was getting into. But like, I started 3 like 2 days ago, and I'm like nearly done with it. So
Yeah.
it's like 2 took me a while, and I feel like 2 took me a couple weeks, and like 3 is, I'm gonna beat it in like 3 days. Um, but I don't
I
know
do
if you guys have
definitely.
experienced that.
Yeah, no, I did. Like, I do buy Dartmoor, um, Berlin, and Chongqing. Like, those were pretty hard. Or Chongqing was a little bit easier, but like, the first like half of the game, it was like, it was me learning how to play. But by the time I had hit the back end, I was flying through stuff.
Yeah.
And that was even with my sucky stealth skills. And a lot of it is just as you learn how to kind of like exploit the game's mechanics, you can move through them. And it's not a knock on it, it's just one, like, the longer, it's kind of like when the Agent 47 wasn't magically throwing knives super great when he started, but as you spend more time throwing knives, it gets better. I don't know, like, it's hard to explain, because it's like, yes, it was easier. It was still challenging, but it was easier. But it was easier because I had been given the tools to actually succeed and make it easier, which is why I also really appreciate being able to go in and play the story missions again with different restrictions, because it adds those levels of difficulty of a different starting point, different challenges, like you can't change out of your starting outfit, like that kind of stuff, because it adds more difficulties to maps that you actually may have learned like the back of your hand or found really easy on your first playthrough.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are lots of games that do this type of mechanic where it takes a picture or a map or whatever, and basically, if you know, in this, it would be when you're wearing this costume. Here is everything that is in bounds. Here are the lines where things are out of bounds, and unless you're willing to trespass, you can't go there. And then you switch outfits, and now the shape of the map, it's like a different puzzle piece now. And so here is where you can go. And I feel like I spent the last level I played was Berlin, and in that level, you're not sure. I mean, I don't know how much to dance around spoilers, but
Well,
you're
just
not sure who
you
your target is.
yeah, you don't have
And
targets, you don't have a briefing. It's just like figure it out.
figure it out. And I kept spending too much time in the same area trying to be like, what am I supposed to do? And then I found basically the first thing. If I just wandered around in a wider area, I immediately would have figured out like, oh, there it is. But so once I found the first one, everything came a lot quicker after that. But it very much was like I was spending too much time trying to be like, am I missing something? No, it's just what you said. I just needed to walk around more, and
Yep.
it would open up. And sure enough, it did.
Well, and that's the other thing too, is like I feel like a lot of Hitman 3 is really just embodying different types of movie genres when you actually think about it. There's heist, there's actions. Like the entire Berlin level is pretty much just the John Wick subway scene. And like that's really dope. There's
Yeah.
a murder mystery. And like a lot of it is just like trying to give you the time. And then like the funny thing is because I had a completely different experience. Like when you first come into Berlin, I did the walk around, waited, and I had no problem there. But then the next part is you come into a club and you have to like do stuff to trigger things. I just kept shooting random people that I thought were coming after me, but actually it was making more people come because I was from a distance. I hadn't used the gun before, and I couldn't get to the club because I just kept it. It was a whole thing, and I did that for about like 15, 20, 25 minutes until I realized, oh, I can just sneak in there. And then once I got, and it's just like, I have never heard, or I haven't talked to anybody recently where it's been the exact same experience playing Hitman 2. Or playing Hitman TOO. Like,
Yeah,
also.
also.
It's, and that to me is thrilling. It makes it kind of hard in some aspects. But the fact that everybody can come in and have a different experience just because of how they play and how they think about a game, like that's just exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and on that specific one in Berlin, I never even reached the dance floor. I saw it in a bunch of trailers, but I completed that mission without ever seeing the dance floor once.
Isn't that wild?
It's okay, Chris. We all know
no.
that you can't dance anyway.
Oh,
Who can't dance? Who can't? But
in that level, there's a spot. I found somebody up high, and on the edge of this rooftop, there is literally a bag of bricks.
Yep.
A bag of bricks, and the option is kick the bag of bricks. And so I took care of all my business around there, and I was just like, why in the world does the game want me to kick a dang bag of bricks? Who even put this thing up here? And so I was like, whatever. So I just kicked it, and it goes, target eliminated. I'm like, what? And it shows the upgrade since 2, it retroactively added it to 1, but when something happens that is affecting a different part of the map, it will have the picture-in-picture up in the corner, and it'll show you what happened. And so it showed, it's like, oh, apparently one of the guys, like a target I hadn't identified yet, was directly under that bag of bricks. Glad he was a bad guy.
yeah. Yeah, and I was going to ask too, with the second map, the murder mystery. Did you guys both do the murder mystery aspect?
I did it to again. I couldn't open up those damn doors, so I restarted my whole playthrough so I could find the damn crowbar and get all of the details.
Yeah. I spent a long time looking for, I think, a screwdriver on that level.
I think I had found
And
a
then, of course,
key to get into the butler's room, at least.
the way these always work is like you like need the thing, and then as soon as you find the thing, you find 3 more immediately.
Yeah.
Like you use a crowbar to get into the room that's full of crowbars. Man.
Yeah, that's true. Something I'm excited for with this this developer is that they are now taking on the James Bond license. And I think a lot of, because this game does some different things than even 2 kind of leans into it a little bit, but definitely not one. One is pretty much all assassination focused, except for like one other like side mission that you do. And in 2, and especially in 3, they're trying to give you like non-combat objectives to do. The murder mystery is a perfect example of that. And I think that kind of shows to the Broccoli family that owns the license to they really are called the Broccoli family that owns the license to James Bond.
Sounds like some Providence stuff if I've ever heard.
Well, they are. Yeah, they definitely are. The Broccoli family are is a family
The
of like
Broccoli
producers.
family, yeah, they rule the world in secret. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, on their all the money they made off of selling broccoli.
Yeah.
But it kind of shows to them that, hey, we can do stuff other than just kill people. Like, we have other ideas that we can do that I'm sure is more enticing to that holder. And I can't, like, there was moments when I was playing Hitman 3, I was like, oh shit, they're gonna make a crazy good Bond game. Like, it is gonna be incredible.
Until you get to, so the Berlin level is called, the name of the level is called Apex Predator.
Yep.
And it's pretty clear why when you get in there, and you're just like, all right, about to do some murdering. But up until that point, I felt pretty bad because I was like, I mean, actually, we can get into this a little more in the anti-hero spot, but I was like, okay, I think I only want to kill people who, like, my targets and people who seem bad. Everybody else, I'll knock them out, but I'm not trying to kill them. And so when I got into that level, I was just like, man, I might just have to do some extra killing. Like, I think this might be it.
The thing is my anxiety goes off when I see the little, you have 3 unconscious witnesses, and I'm like, oh no, what if they wake up and ruin my plan? So I just kill everybody. That's that's how I do. Except for in Chongqing. So Chongqing is the location in China, and one of the ways to get into one of the facilities is to take a homeless person's clothes. And I did not kill that person. And I was like, I'm not going to do this. This is mean. So, like, I knocked him out, and I left my stuff by him. And I was like, I'm sorry, dude. And then I just went. So
that's amazing.
That was very specific.
Yeah, that's amazing because I looked over, saw the homeless people, and I'm like, I don't know how that's going to help me at all during this mission. So keep moving. Look for something else to do.
Yeah, if all you do is you hear from them and then they take you into the medical facility.
Jesus.
That's awesome. So that's what I'm playing tomorrow, and I'm excited for that.
Which is like just that aspect alone, that like you played through that mission, literally not even touching the thing that was vital for me finishing my mission.
Yeah. Yeah, and that mission too is interesting because there are so little mission stories that not at any point in that level did it grab me by the hand and start dragging me along. And it's far enough into the game where you should know kind of like what things could happen. Like if you just like check mission stories or challenges beforehand, before the mission starts, you kind of have an idea of like what could possibly happen. And then when I
don't check nothing.
When I was in there, I check every time because I want to see what the challenges are. But in that Chongqing, it was I was getting real nervous and a little stressed out about it because I was like, I haven't seen a mission story. Am I just like walking past them? But I'm like sneaking around all these facilities like totally unnoticed and everything's going fine. So yeah, I didn't like when I saw where the mission story was for the. I actually ended a mission story that I didn't start, and when the start of the mission story was like 3 floors down, I was like, I'm already here. I'm just gonna keep going with what I'm doing.
Mission stories that I completed.
Which one?
I had 4 mission stories that I completed, and I rolled right into them each after.
Wow.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
It's crazy how different it could be for each player.
Yeah, because like one for me, actually I got frustrated with the homeless guy one, and because I just couldn't figure out how to do it, so I decided to go to the next piece. Because if you walk into the restaurant, you see a guy who has like a thing to like go into one of the facilities for the tech person. And I had actually completed the tech person first, but in order to do the final objective, you have to have had both targets eliminated, and I didn't have them eliminated at the time. And so I was like, well, guess I'm gonna restart the damn level because I can't do this. I'm not gonna remember how to get into this damn facility again. So I restarted and I just redid the order in which I did everything. And it's funny because when you play, it's really easy to think that like, oh, this is how you're supposed to do it because now I'm getting it. And like, yeah, I completed 4 different missions. And one of them I actually restarted to do better because I had accidentally gotten seen by someone. Like I got to be a whole cook and like prepare a meal and stuff for one of them to get to be able to steal things.
There are 2 different things. So similar to what you said earlier, I played the first level all on 2 days ago. I played that for like 2 hours. Chris, it cracks me up. Chris pops into my streams like, "Oh man, I missed it," and I'm like, "Dude, I've been on the first level for an hour and a half, and you show like I was in there for an hour and 32 minutes, and an hour and 33 minutes in, Chris pops in and he's like, "Oh, you're further than me. I can't watch anymore." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah, it's like, whoops. Yeah, because he was starting Dartman, but now I'm like way past you.
Yeah, you are. But the whole next day at work, I was just thinking, I was like, oh, if I had been wearing this costume when this happened, I could have done this. And later, when we went upstairs, it would have changed this thing over here. And there were so many different ways. There's at one point in the first level, you find somebody. You can find somebody who is talking about a classic exploding golf ball, and it just cracks me up. She's on the phone with like her mom, and she's like, "Yeah, I think I went a little too far with this prank. I don't think anyone should use this exploding golf ball. So I hid it in some closet somewhere or something." And I was like, "Well, I'm interested in that because I saw the tee off on the top of the building earlier, so I definitely want that." And unlike the first game, you can't just click, "Okay, teach me how to do it." Like the character, which I think I appreciate because I still had so many other options, so it's not like the game wasn't giving me enough.
Mm-hmm.
But the character says, "Hey, it's in a closet," and she describes it. So like, if I find a closet that fits this description, I'm immediately gonna know, oh, I need to be looking for this exploding golf ball. But this game was different than the others, where there were a few times where it was like, "Hey, go find the thing," and it'll point you to a general area. But then you actually have to go looking for it. It's not like in the first game where there's an objective marker precisely on the thing that you're supposed to just walk straight up to, even though there's no way you would have known where that thing was. And I kind of like that element of sending you somewhere and being like, "All right, you've got all the tools." But
also,
on the other hand,
sorry. I was going to say,
no, go ahead.
for that first damn level, somebody told me like, "Oh, how did you get through the hitting the targets and then accidentally hitting the because you throw knives at a target and you're supposed to accidentally hit somebody." I was like, "I didn't have that quest. I would have done it. What?"
Oh, that's
So
the very first thing I got.
Yeah, no,
I never experienced that one.
Through the whole damn thing of being Kazir and being so this was the bodyguard one. I had to follow him around as a bodyguard until I just got tired of following him around, and I chucked him into the little exhibit squatter.
Yeah. I walked out. I had just been saying on stream how I don't want to kill people that I don't have to. And I got the knife quest. You walk out on this balcony. There's a table with 6 knives on it, 4 targets, like 4 things you're supposed to hit. And Agent 47 can't miss. So fortunately, there's no like, oh, you have to aim. You just point, and then he does the rest.
Cannon can't miss. When I play him, he can miss because and it's funny because when you miss, it's just like, ooh, like he just like tosses it. Like he doesn't throw it. Just like. I went through like 4 screwdrivers on one level, and I was trying to be cool and get it from behind a corner, and it was just like gently tossing it each time. Okay, sorry.
No, so I get that quest, and there are 4 targets. There's the guy you're actually supposed to assassinate, and then his other bodyguard. So you have 6 knives, 4 targets, and 2 people. And I was immediately like, well, I know I said I didn't want to kill people, but here we go! And just immediately threw him off the building, and I was just like, well, that went a lot quicker than I thought it was going to be. But on the other hand, same level later on, I really spent my time going through all these levels because there's so much environmental stuff to take in, not just looking and taking in the map, because there's so much to look at. There's so much to touch. There's so many people that have pathings that go all over the place, and you can figure out, the ins and outs of how you want to, oh, I noticed this bodyguard goes over here. And there are like 300 glasses all over the place that I can poison so that people have to go to the bathroom, and then I'll steal their clothes. But the final guy, the other dude, I thought I was going to have a chance to be alone with him. And then when I thought I was going to be alone with him, there were 2 bodyguards in the room. Like, not even 1, but 2. And I was like, this might be too much for me to get away with. So I was like, all right, ace in the hole. And I poisoned this drink right in front of him. So he goes to the bathroom, and he walks in, and I'm just like, all right, well, there's like a cleaning guy in here. So I've had this blueberry muffin since the very beginning of the map. I'm going to knock him out with the blueberry muffin. I'm going to drown the target, and I'm going to walk out of here. So I throw that blueberry muffin, pow, right in the kisser. Guy goes down. I'm up here. I'm drowning the target, and I'm just like, you know what? I deserve this. I did this. I did a great job. And the camera pans around, and the dude I threw the blueberry muffin at, he starts standing back up. And I'm like, oh, no, I didn't knock him out. I just knocked him over. I'm like, hurry, just be done. And so I turn around, and I hit him again with another piece of fruit. But I somehow got away with it. Like, I somehow didn't, like, he started yelling, but I knocked him out in time. But the fact that, like, I had a plan, it didn't work. So I did my plan B. Plan B almost went wrong, and I had to be like, throw fruit at him. But every step along the way was just, like, such a good time. Honestly, even if it had messed up, I could have save scummed and been like, all right, this time I'll really get him with that blueberry muffin. I'm really going to peg him.
Whoa.
But on the other
Phrasing.
hand, but on the other hand, I would have been like, oh, now I know where the bathroom is. Like, I can just go to the bathroom before he even gets there and all this stuff. But
in
I love
chunking, there's literally a like drop in 3 different areas of one of the hidden areas, or the area that you're supposed to infiltrate to get one of the targets. And you find 3 different outfits, and you don't have to kill anybody or knock anybody out. You just have to know which room to go into to find the outfit. And me, like, I found them and I was able to do it afterwards, but it was very much like an untrained assassin on their first day, where it was like, oh, okay, kill this person, fine. And then somebody came down the hall. It was like, fuck, screwdriver. And then I ran over and then hit that person. And then another person saw me, and it was like, oh, crap. And then I hit that person. And it was just like, I at that point, I had like 6 people killed, and I was like, I gotta restart. This isn't gonna work. And I found the suit that I needed.
There you go. I do want to open it up to, I know we have a question from Twitter, and I wanted to know if like Devi or Carlos had any questions about the game or any interest in now playing it, that we've talked about it so much.
I do have a question.
Yes.
You mentioned something about DLC, and like, I'm really intrigued about the story now, hearing it from all these different perspectives. But every great story, if I'm to believe any anime that ever exists, has a beach episode. So what I want to know is there going to be some beach DLC, and do we get to see Agent 47 in some, some swimwear? That's what I want to know.
There is several beaches in Hitman. In Hitman 2, the DLC, one of the DLC levels is like a resort, which I haven't played yet, but there is that. So there's probably like a Speedo or some shorty shorts in that level, I'm assuming.
Okay.
Writing that down.
You can find some pretty good club going outfits in the Berlin in the Berlin one,
Yeah.
including a ski mask.
Really?
Yeah, did you not? Yeah, so there's one with a ski mask that you can like knock somebody out and take.
Oh my gosh. I told you guys before the show, but there's a person in there called Florida Man. And as soon as I saw him, I was like, I don't care what I have to do. I'm getting this guy's outfit.
Carlos,
Will say you. Oh, sorry. I was gonna say you do get a shirtless 47 in one of the levels just naturally. So
Really? In which
Yes.
game?
3.
3? Alexa, download Hitman 3. I'm on it.
Carlos, you want to go ahead and read that question from Twitter?
Yeah, I got you here. Okay, so Danny Dubs Not Subs or at Echo Spider says, "What do you think has made the Hitman franchise something worth being revisited?" It's not at all sarcastic. They just want to know your specific opinion on that.
Who wants to go first?
Agent 47 is hot.
Yes,
Okay, yeah.
that.
Period.
Game's good.
I will say that I was thinking about it today because I was perusing the PSN and saw that the Hitman HD collection is currently $17.99, and that is Absolution and Blood Money. And Blood Money is the one that I had still such like fond memories of, and I kind of wish they would just take it and import it into this current Hitman. But I'm contemplating purchasing that and like going back and seeing how it holds up. But in all cases, like even if it holds up well, Hitman, the current trilogy, just expounds on what made that great. And just if Hitman Blood Money was like an 8, then this is a 9 or a 10, right? Like they have taken everything that was great about that and just cranked everything up. Like the humor, all of the action feels better when stuff does break down. Everything. I think it's worth revisiting because it is a game that if you did play one of the old ones, were kind of like, oh, I don't know. This is a much better version of it, and I think I'm not 100%. I think the Hitman 1 demo is still on PlayStation Network and on Steam, I think. And that is just the like training sequence, which is it's the same throughout all the games. It like gives you like a tutorial, and then you have like a training mission that you do. And that is the demo, and that'll let you know if this is something you'd be into. And I think those things are still available. I don't know why they would remove the demo from those sites, but if you're thinking about it, now is a good time to do it. I will say that I maybe wouldn't just buy Hitman 3 by itself. I would try to find a way to find Hitman 1 and 2 on sale somewhere, purchase those along with it, like kind of make it a package deal.
And just FYI, Stadia Pro, which you can get like a 3-month free trial for, has Hitman 1 on it. I've started playing it since I got my Razer Kishi, so
Very nice.
It's nice.
Cool.
So I will reiterate my point that Agent 47 is hot. But like actually going into it, like I think that we kind of discredit thirst a lot of the time, but it actually speaks to the character design that's done. And one of the things that is phenomenal about Hitman, and one of the reasons that you can revisit, is how good the character designs are and how good the character design works to the worlds that you're going into or the locations that you're going into. So I do think that like Agent 47 himself is just a compelling character. And honestly, for me, the mechanic of disguising yourself and dressing up in different pieces, like that is something that's actually super immersive. And the level of detail that IO puts into the actual like designs of the outfits is actually really phenomenal, to the point that I do know that for some people who especially really like take pride in how their characters look and stuff would really appreciate that mechanic alone of the game. I will say though, like I actually think that it would totally be okay to buy Hitman 3 by itself. Obviously, if you can buy all three, buy all three.
Yeah.
But like, I don't want people to not pick it up because they can't pick up all three at one time.
Yeah.
I actually think, especially with the way that 3 is built, the fact that if you run through and complete 3, you can then utilize elements of 3 and 1 and 2. You don't lose anything by playing 3 first and then going back to the beginning once you know that you're for sure in on the game and getting 1 and 2 after.
That's true.
It's
Because
also
I
almost like 1 and 2 would be DLC for 3.
yeah,
instead
in a
of
way.
3, you know?
Yeah.
Which again, it just shows that they really want people to like this game. Like they want people to be able to play it and have a good time.
am really interested to know how their sales of 1 and 2 are going right now, with the sales of 3 being so good.
Well, I will say that I purchased 2 just on the recent like holiday sale that PlayStation did for like $11 or something,
Yeah.
the gold edition. I
damn.
purchased that because I knew that it would import, and I already owned 1. I knew that it would import
Yeah.
everything into 3, and I was excited for that, and I was also excited to play it in VR. Don't do that, but other than that, I'd say it's a great game, and
Yeah.
I love it.
I think so. Stealth could be the biggest barrier to this. First, like of all the foreseeable barriers to this game, I think stealth would be the biggest one. But I will say, I love the idea of switching into somebody's clothes and then standing full upright, not crouching, hidden, like hiding behind a counter or a box or a wall, but getting in an outfit and then just waltzing into somewhere that a minute ago you were not allowed to go is such a rewarding feeling.
Yeah.
I tend to spend more time trying to get outfits to let me legally go where my outfit allows me to go instead of trying to like sneak in, like trespass somewhere and then figure it out. And I think that's my favorite version of stealth. I really like it. Not that I don't like stealth in other games, but it's not a Splinter Cell hide in the shadows kind of game. It's a hide in plain sight kind of game.
Yeah.
And it feels good.
And it's more forgiving than Splinter Cell by a lot, and it's more forgiving than even like a Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
So if you're like afraid of those stealth games, like this might be the one that like triggers that for you, and
Also,
makes it
this could
better.
this could very easily be baby's first stealth game. Like if
Yes.
you've never picked one up and you
Yeah.
just want to like learn how it works, because one of the good things that you do pick up as you play is understanding field of vision for different elements, understanding how those play. The plain sight thing is really good because you also have to learn the mechanics of where your outfit will get you into, where it won't, what items you can actually have on you while you're in that costume and which ones you can't. Like when you're a cook, you can have all the knives you want, but once you put on that like civilian clothes again, then you're back to having those be illegal and people will look at you differently in different areas.
Yeah.
So like there are different ways for you to really understand the base mechanics of a stealth game without having to be just thrown into it like super hard in an unforgiving way. Don't be afraid of the save scrum. Don't, like, ever.
I do it all the
Literally the dev and like literally the devs told me to. They were like,
Yeah.
hey, make sure you're saving, make sure you're doing this stuff, like have fun with it and use your saves.
Yeah. I don't like save scumming, but like this game, I don't feel bad about it. Like I'm having a better time for it.
Yeah, when I streamed 2, it was like the sloppiest I had ever been, and just was like, well, I'm not gonna save scum since I'm on stream. I'm just gonna go with it. Still completed the mission, but I think I got 0 stars.
Oh, hell yeah.
There was a lot of unnecessary death because I got caught a few times. But
Hitman, more like shitman.
exactly. Carlos, you want to lead our party topic today?
Yeah, and so today it's some of our favorite anti-heroes in gaming, and I thought about that just because of obviously Hitman 3 was going to be a big part of this episode, so Agent 47 is kind of a big deal, and his character is something that a lot of people find some sort of truth in gaming. As you'll note with our examples, there are so many games that feature an anti-hero as you. That's the person that you're playing. And so just with the basic description or definition of an anti-hero, a central character in a story, movie, or drama who lacks a conventional or who lacks conventional heroic attributes. This is somebody that's usually maybe a little narcissistic. They might have some idealism or courage, but their sense of morality might be a little bit different than what a hero would be. And so, for me, thinking about my favorite anti-hero, I had to go with Untitled Goose Game and the Goose. And that is because, to me, your goose is the definition of an anti-hero. The goals of the character in game, your mission, like while they can show that the goose can do some brave things or idealistic things, sometimes helpful things during the game, at the same time he's got a penchant for doing evil or selfish things. The desire for pure chaos is the big one for me. He wants to bring down the system, is what I put in our notes here. Yeah, the goose wants to be loose. So just the fact that your goose is not specifically out to do the noblest things. I mean, you trap a kid in a phone booth, you trip the kid by untying his shoelaces. Like, there's so much inherent fun in that. I think the goose is probably on the most good of terms as far as character and heroes goes, but it leads it all to the player. For me, I think that's actually one of the reasons why people do keep coming back to the Hitman franchise is because it's just a different style of gameplay that we don't always get. You are further entrenched into your character as an anti-hero than so many other ways of playing. If you think of just straight up open worlds or even Master Chief, yeah, you feel like Chief a lot of the time, but just because of the choices that you get to make in the way that you make them, with all this chaos being unleashed around you, I think that is what makes the difference. There's a lot there for me because just like you, Kate, I'm a movie fan. That's really where my first love is. But there's so much to talk about for anti-heroes, and in games there's always a great character coming out that is that definition of an anti-hero. So I could talk about it all day.
This is not the person I wrote on this list, but in Mass Effect, you can of course be Paragon. You can be nice. You can be good, thoughtful. Or
So
you can
the
be
Thomas route.
Yeah, I've had trouble just being jerks to people. So I talked to a friend of mine who's beaten that game, the whole series, a bunch of times, and he's picked a lot of the decisions that you would have, like, you would only pick them if you want to be as terrible as you could possibly be. And some of the endings you can get, I didn't even, well, not like endings, but some of the hidden paths that you can get, I didn't know they even existed. And I'm not going to spoil those here, but there's some things that I thought the choices were, if you're good, you save the person. If you're bad, you kill the person. But it turns out that earlier, if you made some crazy renegade decision, there's a third decision, and it's terrible. And that happens multiple times in Mass Effect 3, where there's one specifically where there are two, if you've played the game, there are two very important factions, and there's a very huge climax where you have to very quickly either pick one of them, make it so everybody's happy, or if you go full renegade, there's a way that everyone dies. Everybody dies. Like, no one wins. And you're, like, the scene ends with Commander Shepard just being like, get me off this planet. And you just leave. And my friend told me this story, and I'm just like, that's, like, my heart hurts just hearing that. But that's an option that you can do. Like, whether you do that on purpose or not, you get the choice of what kind of hero do you want to be. Because at the end, at the end of all things, you're going to save the day. Some people might not be happy about it, but, you know, the level of good qualities, you kind of get to choose if you want a lot of good qualities, none, somewhere in between.
Mhm.
But it's interesting, not unlike Hitman, where people can play through and describe, oh yeah, with this thing I said blah blah blah, and someone's response might be, I didn't even know that was a choice.
Yeah.
I just picture Commander Shepard just flying away on the ship after like annihilating all of existence. Like, I'm Commander Shepard, and I recommend this. Like,
Right. That's definitely a little more apocalyptic than the Goose is Loose, but
yeah. Mine was going to be what I think is like the quintessential anti-hero, at least in the last few years in gaming, and that is Trevor from GTA 5. That man has
that just stresses me out.
he has zero likable qualities. I won't. Well, yeah, pretty much zero. He's pretty much the worst person you could possibly imagine on the face of the planet.
Yeah.
But there is something about him where anytime in the open world when you get to switch and change to your characters, anytime I had a chance to, I'd switch to Trevor and just see what's going on. Just gotta see what's happening. Riding around pretty much naked on a little scooter. Like you do.
Yep.
But he is the central character of that game, and you are forced to play as him a lot. And he is not. It's tough to say not at all heroic because he does heroic things to save his buddies. But that is as as anti-hero as you could possibly get in gaming, as far as I'm concerned anyway, is Trevor. But that he is up there with to me is like one of my favorite video game characters ever, despite his wretchedness and terribleness.
He's
like the lovable scamp.
Yeah.
Lovable scamp.
Yeah, like Charlie Day in Always Sunny. Like,
yeah.
Lovable.
the lovable scamp.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he has a mouse killing stick too.
We can't hear you.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, I feel like the difference is that Charlie Day doesn't mean to be bad, and he cares. He realizes that he's bad.
Charlie's just stupid. Like he just doesn't get it.
When he burns the trash to be 100% green, he doesn't realize that that's not how that works.
Right.
Exactly.
Ignorance is bliss, I guess.
Whereas Trevor burns the trash because he just likes to burn trash.
Yeah.
For fun.
Yeah. Kate, did you end up deciding on an anti-hero?
I did actually, and there are two franchises that have shaped my life as a gamer, and that is Tomb Raider and Resident Evil. So I'm gonna go with my girl Ada Wong, because she is great. She comes in, I think, in Resident Evil 2. She exists for herself. She does not care if she's going to save someone, and she will save you if it has her best interest in mind. She has some sort of like moral core, but at the end of the day, like she's a character, like we don't know 100% of her backstory. Like she's one of like the main characters in the sense that you don't know a lot about. I think her nicest is when she helps Leon. That's about the nicest she's ever been.
Mm-hmm.
But I personally really enjoy characters, especially female characters, who don't put themselves second, and really just exist to preserve their sense of agency and power. I love anti-heroes just from a standpoint. I also love villains to an unhealthy degree, especially in anime. It's the running joke on like every podcast I'm on that if somebody is evil, I'm gonna love them. It's fine. But anti-heroes have this special place because I feel like anti-heroes get to the core of being able to point out that you can do something good while still being extremely flawed.
Mm-hmm.
For me at least, that's why I'm really pulled to them. Because I don't like perfect people, and in most comics and video games, like your character that is good, that is the hero, is usually pretty perfect in all sense that they can be. And I feel like anti-heroes just give you more depth into understanding what makes a person tick. Because if you're in the middle of a zombie apocalypse and you were a spy sent to get intel on the Umbrella Corporation, like, you're going to handle it very differently when Umbrella turns out to be the main reason why everybody is turned into a zombie, and you're also a spy, and you're not really going to care about the people around you who you've only known for 5 minutes. You're just going to try to survive, which I feel like not necessarily caring for the random person you just met 5 minutes ago makes the most sense in a zombie apocalypse, and looking out for yourself. So yeah, my girl Ada.
And I mean, the thirst was real. That was still self for her when she decided to get a little bit of something from Leon.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
True icon.
Wouldn't you?
True icon.
Devi, what do you got for an anti-hero?
My anti-hero is Catwoman from the DC universe, and it's in very much the same vein as Kate's reasoning for Ada Wong. She's literally just looking out for herself. She is numero uno. She is preserving everything that she stands for and not really caring how she goes about doing it. But she does have that like strong like compass within herself. Like, you know, in several of the animated series, you know, she has like this orphan that she's looking out for. So she's making sure that she has a home, or she always has like this, you know, just a goal, or like protecting her cats even is like a small thing that she's been known to do. But I just love that she just does what she wants. She doesn't care about what anyone thinks. And she does it with style and flair that is just enviable, you know? Like, Catwoman is that elegance that I aspire to be myself. So,
And she's hot.
It's really cool. And she's hot. She's hot. In all her iterations, she's hot.
Every single time.
Even the poor Halle Berry movie that we don't like to talk about.
R.I.P.
Accurate.
But Catwoman is definitely one. I had trouble choosing between her and Harley Quinn. Because Harley Quinn is kind of, she's an anti-hero in the fact that she's trying to redeem herself for all of the things that she's done when she was with Joker. You know, she's trying to find her own identity once again. And that's really reflected when she helps Batman out in Injustice too. When she's like taking over the Big Brother, making sure, like watching out for Superman and everything. She's really trying to atone for everything that she's done. And I really like her arc in the Harley Quinn animated series that they just released. It was really cool because, you know, she broke up with Joker. It was like a whole big thing. And she realized that maybe he's not the best to be with her, which is a thing that happens in a lot of the comics as well. But then when she wants to become a villain in her own right in that series, she realizes that she's not really cut out for like the evil doing. Because she runs into this villain that's like a true villain. She's like, you kill everyone and you don't care. But then Harley Quinn's like, but I do care.
Yeah.
Does that make me a good guy? And she like wrestles with that, and I think that really makes her a good anti-hero as well.
Definitely.
I think to like follow that up too, we're also going to be getting her in the Suicide Squad video game that's coming out.
Yep.
Yes, which I'm
That's gonna
really
be
excited
dope.
about.
And we're getting, it looks like we're getting the more Birds of Prey focused Harley Quinn as well. That's more anti-hero than.
Yeah, I wish we would have kept Ron Funches as King Shark, but that's fine. That's fine. It's Samoa Joe as King Shark in the video game, but it's fine. It'll be fine.
I think Ron Funches would have made an excellent video game King Shark.
Well, because he's great he's like the best part of the Harley Quinn show.
He is.
He's so good. Ron Funches is a great person. Follow him on Twitch.
Also, I love that he and Constantine are a thing. Like, who saw that coming?
I don't know. I watched a whole stream of his on Get High Watch Wrestling. Anyway, Thomas, community spotlight time.
Wait, no, we didn't get to his thingy.
Oh, he did.
Oh, I already talked.
No,
Yeah,
he
but
did
we're
his.
good.
He changed his to Mass Effect. Like
Yeah, I
Shepard.
was going to talk about.
Oh, okay,
Data-
okay. I
data
thought that was
for-
just like a tangent. Okay, all right, we're good.
It's enough. I mean, I don't need to cover two. You guys hear me talk enough. I don't need to. So, Kate, I have a bunch of questions somewhere here. Have we sent you any questions? Is that a thing?
No.
Okay.
No.
Then I'm going to ask you a few questions that we usually do for our community spotlight. They'll be easy ones. I think I'll be able to pick these out. Actually, while I'm pulling up the list because I have it right in front of me. I'm going to start with the easiest one. All right. Do you go loud or stealthy? We already know the answer to this question. Say that again.
One more time.
Loud.
Loud. Yeah, that checks out. Let's see. Do you have a favorite game soundtrack? And you can come back. I know I'm putting you on the spot here. And
It is probably ODST,
okay.
Skyrim, and honestly, Mass Effect 3.
Okay.
Those are-
ODST, the Neon Night song, our local NPR station uses that for a lot of their.
That's amazing.
They're
Yeah,
like, donate
KCUR.
your car to us.
Do they know that that's what they're doing?
Oh yeah. They pick
Okay.
nerdy stuff. I've heard the Fez soundtrack on there a bunch, and I'm pretty sure I know
Really?
which guy is the one who puts the soundtrack on there. Yeah,
That's
they
awesome.
have great music tastes on that for their clips. I
I
wish
had
they had
to,
something where I could like look it up to be like, this thing's dope, but I have no way to look it up. It's like 10 seconds of a song I don't recognize. Let's see. What difficulty do you play on? I think you answered this one.
Yeah, hard or whatever whatever the top level is.
Extreme.
If it's personal, if I'm playing for personal, I will play it on that. If I am not, if I'm playing for review, I will play it normal or easy so I can speed through it and then come back for a hard playthrough.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't want to end up like the guy who was reviewing Cuphead and couldn't get past the tutorial level.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Brutal.
Especially because like companies are really bad about giving you enough time to play a game anyway. So I tend to I learned the hard way of like, oh, I should probably just finish this game today.
Yeah. Well, you had mentioned, and so many people who work with games for work, right, have discussed the idea of like, what do I do with my free time? Like, I want to play a game, but how do I incorporate this into my work schedule? When, like, on one hand, it's like I can turn this review is now work, so now I get to play the game for work for fun. On the other hand, some people would be like, I play games all day for work. I don't want to relax with games now.
Yeah.
But the question is side quests or main story, and I want this to go either way. If you're working, do you have a different answer from when you're relaxing?
It depends. So my relaxation play is really me and my husband, one of the main reasons that we've been together for 7 years, is because we both like falling into video games for an ungodly amount of hours in the winter. So the
Goals.
majority of the games that I play for fun are with him, in which case it is just main story, mostly because we're usually behind in any MMO that we're playing that we need to just burn through content.
Yep.
But on a personal level, I'm a side quest person because I am an achievement hunter, and I want all of the pretty pings that my Xbox gives me when I find everything. So, actually, even when I review to an extent, so like when I played the medium, I purposefully went down the ways that I knew were wrong because I wanted to find out what was there, and I wanted to collect all the things. Because one of the achievements was to collect all of X item in one playthrough. And so I was like, I'm going to do it.
Okay.
That's not Final Fantasy training.
Yes. So I don't know if that answers the question, but it's kind of like, I'm not against side quests so long as those side quests give me things.
Okay. Well, yeah, I think the idea that you're an achievement hunter checks out, and I can absolutely appreciate that. I'll let you pick one of these. Either, do you have any favorite video game characters, or if you could have any remake, remaster, or re-release that everybody would have a chance to play.
So I'm tired of remakes and re-releases, so I'm gonna skip that question. And my favorite video game character is Lara Croft. It's been Lara Croft since I first started gaming. It's gonna be Lara Croft till I die. Tomb Raider and Tomb Raider 2 were the first two games that my mom ever bought me. Tomb Raider 1 was the first game I ever completed on my own. And my mom actually bought me those 2 games specifically because I was in love with Indiana Jones, and she was excited that I could play as a girl.
I love that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, like I have like such a deep connection to her. So yeah, always Lara Croft, and like original Lara Croft and Shadow of the Tomb Raider Lara Croft, because I hate 2013 reboot Lara Croft. I am, but yeah, that's my favorite. That's probably the easiest question to ever answer for me.
Okay.
It's funny
Nice.
that that was the answer between those 2 questions, because in one of our past podcasts, we had talked about what if they had rebooted the Tomb Raider series with current gen like aesthetics, but with the original mechanics and gameplay.
Right.
I would have loved it, because that's why I don't like. That's why I love Shadow, because Shadow the Tomb Raider is a completely like, it goes back to the platforming, it goes back to the puzzles, and you have like tombs galore. And then that's also why I know people, and this isn't a chide against them, but like people who came into the Tomb Raider series in 2013, they really did not like Shadow because it was so different than what those 2 were. Whereas with me, I was just like, I just want those old mechanics. That's what I love.
Right. Well, perfect. Well, cool. Well, then, well, that's it. Usually we'd ask a whole bunch more, but I think it's a lot easier to just nail those. And honestly, what I'm discovering with all these questions in front of me is that, as we talked about Hitman, we really got to know you a lot. I mean, I feel like I could fill in a bunch of answers for these just from talking. So I know everybody feels the same way, but we are so happy to have had you on the podcast.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
I know Chris and I are very happy to have somebody to share Hitman 3 with.
Absolutely.
Thank y'all so much. This is the most I've gotten to dive into Hitman, so I'm super happy.
Awesome.
Thank y'all. Seriously, this is a really, really great time.
Yeah. Quickly let everybody know where they can go find you and follow you.
Yes, so you can find me on Twitter at @omamithrandir. I'm active on Instagram, but that is all manga all the time and mostly yaoi. When it comes to, that's where I do a lot of my reviews. So you can find me there. I give a lot of recommendations. But you can find all of my critic work and our site and our community at But Why Tho PC on all platforms. We're super close to 100 Instagram followers, so like totally go there first.
Go do that.
Or like we're like 30 or 29 away. So yeah,
Super close.
Do that thing.
Be one of the first 100. Get that founder.
Oh no, 1,000. I said 100. 1,000. We're almost at 1,000. Oh my god, our Instagram manager's gonna be so mad at me. She's been working her butt off to get us to that. Help us hit that big milestone. Oh my gosh, I hope she doesn't listen.
And we hope she does.
What would happen to be her name?
Devi, let all the good people out there know where they can go follow us at.
Yes, that would definitely be linked tr.ee/partyinvite. There you can find all of our links to our various mediums such as YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. We have a Facebook group as well. Also, you can find us on Discord at discord.gg/bunch of letters and numbers. So please do come in. And we always play everything with all of our community. So if there's something that you're interested in playing, we talk about everything there. Please join us. Be part of the party. We want to have you. Come on now. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, this is a great episode. Thank you all for listening or watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.